Follow the 2021-22 Premier League season on the OneFootball app, with breaking news stories, match stats and live scores. Get customised push notifications to receive team news, goal alerts and more. Download it for free, the link is in the description. Aaron Ramsdale was the hero in Gameweek 10, where a score of 57 points has seen a rise up from 169k to 112k. The Arsenal goalkeeper made 8 terrific saves to deny Leicester and earn himself 2 bonus points. But it was another poor week for the Man City double up in defence, as Crystal Palace came away from the Etihad with a 2-0 win. Despite being down to 10 men for the second half, they ranked 4th best for XG conceded during the game week, and only Chelsea conceded fewer shots. There was a full house of returns across the midfield, with Saka coming in for Mbomo, an unused sub after his minor hamstring injury. No midfielder landed more than Rafinha's 3 shots on target, with the Brazilian shaking off an ankle injury to feature from the start. Jamie Vardy was off target with his only efforts against Arsenal, while Michail Antonio played the role of assisting the assister a couple of times in West Ham's 4-1 win over Aston Villa. So it was left to Himmanes to come up with the goods against Everton on Monday night. Now let's move on to discuss the future transfer plans ahead of Gameweek 11. There are 2 free transfers available, and the squad is in relatively good shape, so it'll be a fairly luxury move. For a while now, the plan has been to sell Michail Antonio ahead of his tough fixtures, with Ivan Toney the favourite to come in due to his more attractive schedule. But I'm less convinced by that move now, with the Brentford striker without a goal or assist in the last 4 game weeks. He ranks joint top amongst forwards for shots in that time, with 10, but none of those were deemed to be big chances. An alternative option would be to target a Chelsea wing-back, most likely Reece James. Both he and Chilwell are thriving under Tuchel, with a solid defensive foundation combined with their licence to get forward and take up goal-scoring positions. But they have just faced particularly obliging opposition in Newcastle and Norwich, and will now take on Leicester and Man United in the next 3 game weeks. So I'm actually tempted to hold off from that move until game week 14, when they travel to Watford. The other issue with making that move this week is that it would be Ruben Dias making way, and at present my plan is to bench the underperforming City defender for the next 2 game weeks anyway. That would then allow space for Saka and Livramento to come in against Watford and Norwich respectively. So with all that being said, no move has been made as of yet, but reluctantly it's the Antonio to Toney transfer that I'm planning to make later in the week. Here's how the team is set to line up for Friday's Game Week 11 deadline. Aaron Ramsdale faces a Watford side that have scored 5 goals in their last 4 game weeks, but each of those came in a single match against Everton. Arsenal have allowed just 3 goals in that time, with only Chelsea faring better, though they have slipped down to 10th for XG conceded. As mentioned a moment ago, Ruben Dias drops to the bench to enable a shift to a back 3. Whilst a clean sheet isn't out of the question against their Manchester rivals, I want to see more from Man City before doubling up on their defence again, after a disappointing few weeks. They've moved down to 5th for XG conceded in the last 4 game weeks, behind Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea and West Ham. Chelsea meanwhile have allowed just 1 goal in that time, conceding a league low 20 shots in the box. But they take on a Burnley side that have fashioned an impressive 9 big chances in the last 4 game weeks, trailing only Leicester, Wolves, Chelsea and Liverpool. Since making his return from injury, Alexander-Arnold has provided 5 attempted assists in 3 game weeks, level with Reece James and only bettered by Matt Target amongst defenders. West Ham averaged just 0.63 goals per game against top 4 opposition last season, with only 3 teams faring worse. Appetising fixtures for both Bukayo Saka and Brian Mbomo inspire the move to a 4-man midfield. Norwich and Watford have each conceded 9 goals in the last 4 game weeks, with only Man United and Aston Villa faring worse. The out-of-position Brentford midfielder was named in the squad against Burnley after nursing a hamstring issue, but presumably wasn't risked for a cameo given that the game had already got away from them. Hopefully he'll be reinstated from the off against the Canaries, where he can reprise his partnership up top with Ivan Toney. Completing the midfield alongside Mohamed Salah is Leeds talisman Rafinha, who's bagged 3 goals in the last 6 game weeks despite persistent injury troubles. Only Salah has fired more than his 21 shots in that time amongst midfielders. But Leeds have struggled for goals, with just 4 in the last 4 game weeks. Only Brighton and Norwich have managed fewer. Ivan Toney is the planned transfer this week, up against a Norwich side that have conceded a league-high 25 goals across the opening 10 game weeks. The forward was on target in this fixture in the Championship last season, scoring the only goal in a 1-1 draw, with Mbomo providing the assist. It's been a disappointing couple of weeks for Jamie Vardy, and the temptation is growing to replace him with Harry Kane shortly. But he'll get one final outing against a Leeds side that conceded an average of 2.08 goals per game against the top 6 teams last season. They've shipped 10 goals in 3 matches against the same opposition so far this season. Raul Himmanes has offered consistency over the last 5 game weeks, where he's amassed 2 goals and 3 assists. But he's up against a Crystal Palace side that have shipped just 4 goals in 5 home matches this season, with only Chelsea and Man City faring better. Their 3.42 XG conceded figure ranks second best meanwhile. On paper, Jamie Vardy is a contender for the armband this game week, with arguably a better fixture than Mohamed Salah. West Ham boast the strongest defence across the last 4 game weeks in terms of XG conceded, while only Chelsea have shipped fewer goals than their 3. Liverpool dropped points against Brighton, and this could be another test for them. But the individual form of Mohamed Salah, who had a well-taken goal ruled out for a marginal offside against the Seagulls last weekend, is enough for me to stick with him for captaincy.